Chandigarh, the busy, bustling capital of Haryana and Punjab, lies at the fulcrum of diverse cultural traditions. Designed by Le Corbusier, the noted French architect, Chandigarh is planned in the shape of a hand. And in its palm nestles a sparkling gem, Sukhana Lake. Hope. That's where the story begins. The story of Sukhana Lake. Sukhana Lake is the pride of Chandigarh. Overlooking the gently rolling Shivaliks, foothills of the towering Himalaya, Sukhana Lake is a quiet, gentle haven away from the cares of urban life. A place of spiritual upliftment and physical well-being. Snatching precious moments of quietude, to take in the cool freshness of early morning, to walk by the lakeside with friends and family, to languorously paddle a boat on its waters. These are Sukhna's gifts to Chandigarh. For the more intrepid, the lake itself inspires adventure. But it wasn't always like this. As recently as 1988, Sukhana was a lake in distress, its life ebbing away. Once a proud stretch of sparkling water, it had shrunk pathetically. Patches of dry, cracked earth were visible everywhere. It was obvious the lake was dying.
This sheet of water between this bank and this bank did not exist in the summer of 1988. We walked across on the dry bed of the lake, and that can give us an idea as to what was the condition of the lake.
Sukhana was being virtually choked to death as massive loads of silt and sediment brought down the slopes of the deforested and eroded Shivaliks settled on the lake bed. In an attempt to focus attention on the lake's plight, some people turned to satire.
3 years ago, this patch was completely dry. And I persuaded Jaspal Bhatti, and I brought him here, showed him that if something is not done, Jaspal Bhatti, that's ulta pulta fail. Then we played a cricket here to invite the attention of administration.
You played cricket on the dry lake bed?
Dry bed. Stating that if something is not done, one day it will become a playground.
Come what may, the lake had to be saved. Mr. Ashok Pradhan, advisor to the Chandigarh administration, took the initiative and decided to galvanize action.
I used to walk on the lake side every evening, and I saw it shrinking. I could see the earth coming out of the water gradually, and the concern of the people of Chandigarh for the dying lake basically prompted me to find out as to what we could do about it. I found out that earlier efforts had been made, and the cost of the desiltation was estimated at 6 to 8 crores of rupees. That amount of money from budgetary sources was not to be found, and then I had to think of something totally different where we could, without such a vast sum of money, make a sincere effort to save the lake.
Mr. Ashok Pradhan founded the Save Sukhana Lake Society, the objective of which was to bring the people of Chandigarh together to save the lake and to highlight the environmental issues involved. The response was overwhelming, and the people decided to put their will behind the effort to rehabilitate Sukhana Lake. The idea was Shramdan, the voluntary contribution of labor. The Shramdan effort was formally inaugurated on the 16th of April 1988 by the then Governor of Punjab and Administrator of Chandigarh, Shri S.S. Ray. As the momentum developed, more and more people became converts to the cause. They came in the thousands, school children and college students, statesmen and diplomats, administrators and politicians, professionals, industrialists, soldiers and shopkeepers, teachers and housewives, friends and families. They came from distant provinces and cities. Even institutions and social organizations laid their stakes in carting away the silt. The Save Sukhna Lake Society had become the catalyst of action. It had, moreover, succeeded in integrating people from different regions and backgrounds, in coming together, working together, putting their souls behind a common effort. The dry Sukhna Lake bed had taken on the proportions of an epic, as people worked like beavers to clear away the silt. A campaign of this magnitude required organization, direction, and logistical support.
How did you look after the needs of the people in terms of food and water and medical supplies?
Actually, in the first phase, since it was a beginning, we approached the Grain Market Association and certain other associations to provide basic things like gur and chana in the morning, which is our traditional items for taking care of our lungs and saving keeping us off from diseases which are born out of dust. So that was provided on the daily basis by the Grain Market Association. They also put a shabil here and they provided sharbat for people to drink in the morning, in the afternoons. We did try to handle the situation imaginatively because I knew that most of the people who are educated and not used to physical labor will not be able to take silt as head loads from out of the lake. So we thought of stretcher-like items where the silt could be carried on those stretchers outside, which is easier for educated people because two people can together take it out.
While the administration supported the community effort at Sukhna, the work was done without incurring any expenditure from government budgetary resources. The Save Sukhna Lake Society, as the nodal agency for coordinating action, mobilized funds and received generous support in both cash and kind. To aid the massive Shramdan effort, various organizations loaned earth movers, bulldozers and other equipment. Heavy machinery worked cheek by jowl with camel carts. Man, machine and animal moved towards a common goal in perfect harmony. In the space of 80 days, the volunteers removed as much as 35 lakh cubic feet of silt from the lake bed. This veritable mountain of earth was put to good use on alternative work sites and proved to be a significant financial asset.
Then we used some of the earth for creating an embankment on the other side of the lake so that the water is channelized in a manner that it enters the lake only after it crosses through the desiltation tanks as a conservation measure to save more silt coming into the lake. Secondly, we have used large quantities of earth in raising the level of the road near the Chandigarh railway station. It is about 30 feet high and a beautiful road crossing has been completed and most of the earth has gone. 15 to 20 lakh cubic feet of earth has been removed from here and used in that road.
The monsoon rains of 1988 filled Sukhna Lake. The people of Chandigarh had triumphed and the lake was once again theirs. But what of the future? Will Sukhna always remain this beautiful? What of the choking silt that continues to pour down the eroded slopes of the Shivaliks? As many as 25,000 trees were planted along the shores of the lake, largely succulent, fruit-bearing species, in order to attract birds. In the lower Shivaliks, over 100,000 trees were planted to halt the damaging process of soil erosion, to make the slopes verdant again. In the monsoons, seeds and fertilizers were sprayed aerially in the hills to aid the process of afforestation.
Mr. Pradhan, you yourself came here every day and joined hands with the people to take the silt out of the lake bed. What did you personally get out of it?
Satisfaction and seeing that a concept could be translated into action. More than that, it was my conviction which brought me here, and I felt morally bound that I should be there every morning and evening, because the concept was mine, the idea was mine, and if I had not been here, I would have not been able to forgive myself. More than that, my presence meant that, convinced of the concept itself, I myself was participating and removing the silt with my own hands, and so no one else should be reluctant if to come forward and remove the silt with his own hands.
Today, Sukhana lives, breathes, glows. Its rejuvenation has gone a long way towards restoring the ecological balance in the region. In recognition of Sukhana's renewed vitality, the government declared Sukhana as one of the precious wetland heritages of the country, as well as a bird sanctuary. It was thought that the hectic activity on the lake would frighten away its bird population. In fact, the restoration of the ecotone and the increased water sheet, which by 1990 had risen by an additional 15,000 square meters, provided improved nesting grounds to both resident and migratory birds. And large flocks have appeared around the lake and its environs. A botanical garden, located along the embankments of the lake, is the conservatory of a variety of plant species. And the Smriti Upavan is a memorial park of trees planted in remembrance of loved ones through contributions made to the Save Sukhana Lake Society. The tremendous change that has been brought about in the environment around Sukhana Lake is a model of community effort and of the initiatives taken by the administrators and technocrats, which could well be emulated in other areas.
This effort has not remained confined, fortunately, to this lake. It has been emulated elsewhere. People have tried to do this in Renuka Lake in Himachal Pradesh. There is another place in Ropa district where they have, out of a dry tank in the village, they have constructed a hospital out of their own efforts. Something else has happened recently in Ambala or Karnal. The same spirit has been tried. As a matter of fact, in Bhopal, again, which is famous for two important large tanks, which is also the lifeline of the city because it also works as a water supply point. There again, the cleaning has been done on this basis in 1989, because the literature which we produced, we had circulated to all the chief ministers and the governors of the states, so that people know that with the voluntary effort, when the people's hands combine, they can really do wonders. And taking that cue from this, a number of places, the message has gone round and efforts have been made to do important things, to create community assets with the help of the people without a strain on finances of the state, which as it is are quite constrained.
Sukhana is a microcosmic story of nation building. If such instances are repeated all over India in various acts of community effort, whether to save a lake or to bring peace, our future as a nation would be truly secure. Le Corbusier, the visionary architect who designed Chandigarh, once said, "I go where order is coming, out of the endless dialogue between man and nature, out of the struggle for life, out of the enjoyment of leisure under the open sky." These sentiments are reflected in the clear waters of Sukhana Lake and in the joie de vivre of the people of Chandigarh.